Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Libra. If Libra is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. Okay, and let's see what these tea leaves have to say today. All right. Okay, so our card for today is the Queen of Wands. And that, for me, always change. Fortified in fire. Somebody who has been through it, has evolved, has probably lived a couple different lives at least, and has come to a place of understanding, of knowledge, and in that process of really transmuting the knowledge into a really deep and enduring wisdom. Okay, the Queen for me is always kind of this sense of wisdom, the wisdom of a mother, right? The wisdom of the divine feminine consciousness, and particularly with the wands, with it being related to the fire element, this is a wisdom that comes through some amount of suffering and ordeals. Okay, so let's see. What do we have here? We have kind of, it looks like, I'm trying to decide, is this a bear? Or is this maybe a lion? Whatever it is quite a beast, right? And we have above it, or sitting atop, or on top of it, atop it, is a person. Okay, and you can see they have the torso here and the head here. And now we also have a bird that is kind of flying out of the hand. So I look at this and I'm like, this is a warrior. Warriors. Is that a word? Warriors. This is, well, and I'm trying to think, I think it's Durga that sits on the tiger, or is it, I don't know. I mix them up, but I look at it and I think this is not unlike, as we can see over here, we have the queen sitting and she is with the leopard or cheetah. And so this spirit of a large cat, right? Large feline. That we know that the feline is very independent, very, very protective of their young, of their little tribe, and so very much related to definitely that kind of mother archetype. Now, I think that, you know, when I'm looking at this, and I really think that this has a lot to do with kind of taking care of yourself. Really, at some point, making a decision to have to make some huge changes. Maybe like moving away from your origins, you know, kind of going away to college, or moving to a different area to start a different part of your life, okay? And I think it's like you had to mother yourself in some ways. You had to be that protective energy in your own life, if that was consciously or not. I mean, you know, when you're young, and you get to that age where you're supposed to leave the nest, right? It can feel like, okay, I'm going on an adventure, I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to do. I'm going out and seeing the world. But there are also times and circumstances where you kind of have to just get away from what you grew up around. You maybe don't even realize at that point the environment that you've grown up in, the family dynamics are, unhealthy, toxic, not of service to you. And as you got out into the world and you saw how other people live, you met other people, you yourself lived differently, it became more apparent to you that this was not the right place for you anymore, right? And that's not to say that your parents, your caretakers, your family are not, maybe they were wonderful people. Maybe it was the community you lived in. Maybe it was just, the overall, the resources or ability to expand your education or life experience and so on. But I think that, there was just something about yourself that really, you just knew it was time. And I almost wonder if you had like maybe an older sibling that left as well. And it kind of, or, cousins or somebody. And you knew, okay, I got to get out of here. I got to go, And, you had to really kind of advocate for yourself. And now, these years later, and I'm assuming these are some years later, you have this spirit. You not only do you continue to protect yourself, and have, in some ways, have raised yourself in the second half of your life, but I feel like you are somebody who helps other people kind of find their footing in life. So I wonder if you're not like maybe a teacher or some kind of counselor or, have some kind of, you do some kind of mentorship, or maybe you're raising your own kids and, taking them out to do and see and experience all kinds of different things in life, and hoping that they have more opportunities than you did. And there's such a fierceness to becoming a parent, isn't there? And it's not just being a parent, but it is being somebody in the community who takes care of others. These are the true warriors of our life, really. I mean, we know during the last years, a lot of different people had roles in our communities, in our society, globally and locally, where we really saw how important it was to be kind of interacting with each other, literally taking care of each other, medically, but also in the education system, social work, outreach stuff, all these things. It was very amplified that we finally had a clear view of how important so many of these roles really are. Okay. And, I really feel like in some form, if this is your work, if this is something you do for volunteering, if this is something that you are starting to realize that you'd like to do, maybe you want to start volunteering, maybe you feel the calling to, get involved in some way. But I feel it, and this doesn't surprise me because Libra, you really are, you're very, empathetic, right? But and I should say empathic as well, but you are also healers. Excuse me. Healers, mediators, diplomatic, right? In a more social setting, maybe not always in your personal life, but very diplomatic people and able to work with all kinds of different people if you relate to them or not, right? You're really good at communicating. And I look at this and I feel that there is such a passion here. And I feel, you have a message, and that's where this bird kind of comes in. You have a message. You have something to share. You know something about life. And I really feel like there is such an impulse to relate to other people, okay, and help other people, ease the experience of other people, and help lead, help guide. And that's something, we need more of. And that's not to say to force our opinions on others, right? That's not what I'm talking about. But getting out there and really being with people, listening, showing up and being that good neighbor, fellowship, mutual aid of some kind. There's so many different places that we can be of service, okay? And I think that seems pretty important to you. And it seems like it's something, I'm thinking that it came up in another reading about a month ago, I feel like. And so I think, maybe this is another calling, maybe, adding on another thing. Maybe this is like going into a new career path, a new, going back to school, getting certified or licensed for other things. Okay, now I want to look at, we have a boat, but I also see we have somebody here, and it almost looks like they are, and it reminds me of like a very devotional posture, but also kind of votive, where releasing some kind of offering, and it looks like in a boat. Okay, so this is a bit like a journey. Okay, there is movement here, movement of energy, movement emotionally and spiritually. Okay, this seems really it's an intense thing. You can see the size of the formation, and it's the same as the one up. Now it's turned over. And as I'm looking at it, what I'm thinking about is almost like, and it really does kind of relate to the sense of maybe leaving your origins, maybe leaving your family. Maybe you have been, it was hard, right? And it's hard when you kind of break away from the family dynamic at first. And then sometimes it's almost kind of hard to go back. You kind of get out of that atmosphere. And as I said, you start to realize some things. And I think, that's kind of something, it's almost kind of a cliche, really. And I think it's because it's somewhat true anyways. A lot of times we start to realize the faults in the people around us. They become more human. And then hopefully we get to a point as we process, and it could take years, I mean, literally, to kind of work through some of the dynamics and traumas and things that have come about from our childhood, our formative years. But once we start to really, see people that raised us, who were our elders, who were our peers, even in our family. Sorry about that. We
Connected.
gotta make sure this is turned off. I forgot it was on. Okay, maybe it'll be quiet now. Okay, so we see them as people. We realize, you know what, like we have to find ways to it doesn't have to just be forgiving, but just realizing that most people are just doing their best, right? And especially when you start to take care of other people, when you have your own family, you become really involved in whatever it is you're doing, your career, your community, whatever, you start to realize that, we're all just trying. We're trying our best every day, and most of the time just trying to survive it. And so hopefully there is some kind of understanding that, maybe these people just weren't good at what they were doing all the time, and we aren't. A lot of us aren't. A lot of us have a lot of shortcomings, right? And so, anyways, personally, I think that this is almost like a big freedom when we get through this part of our life. And I think it comes as you get older, really. But I think it's like an offering from the universe. It's like, okay, I can start to put some of this away for at least, we can put this away. Now we can focus on other things. And I feel like, this has been a place for you. You've gotten through some stuff, right? I feel like you are in a place where you're getting closer and closer to your relationship with spirit, with spirituality, whatever kind of practices you kind of spend your time with. And I feel like there is almost a lot of guilt. There has been. And I think that you're working through this because it's something you've carried with you. And I think probably this has to do with leaving the hometown, leaving the family, whatever, and then not really going back. Okay. And I almost feel like it's something that it's been hard to face. It's been hard for you to look at this, really look at it. And, I look at this and I think that there's a release of a lot of that regretfulness. And I almost, I kind of almost wonder if, because I'm seeing up here, we see the birds. We have birds and kind of flying. And when I see the birds, I know that this has to do with somebody, usually either spirit or somebody who has passed, transitioned from family, or somebody close to you, somebody you love, somebody who was close enough to you that they would come back to kind of give you a message, right? Or check up on you. And I wonder if in the time that you were gone, that you have been gone, that somebody didn't pass away, right? And this maybe was a family member that you were close to, but because of other things surrounding, what it would entail to go back to living around your family, or, being very involved, you weren't as close anymore. And I wonder, maybe they passed at some time, and this is something that has really, amplified that sense of regret and guilt. Okay. Which is understandable. But, You know, even if it was like your last conversation with them was troubled, or there was an argument, a disagreement, you know, or it had been too long and it was hard to, you know, hard to get back in contact, or, you know, it happens. All these kinds of things happen. But, you know, I want you to know, I want to say this, that even if your last communications, your last visit, whatever it is, was not a happy one, or it was after a long time, that this person loves you and was happy for you. I don't think that there are I don't think that people hold grudges or are angry about these kinds of things when they transcend. I think it's something that we hold on to, you know, and I think that there's nothing but love. And I think that, and oftentimes I think, although somebody can be lonely and miss you, right, and that can kind of in our communication come out as, you know, being upset that you're gone. You know, they maybe seem like, you know, a little angry that you have left the area, left the family, whatever. If you think about how you feel about people that you love, you only want them to do well and to have the lives that they want. And if they knew how to say that to you or not, I really feel like that was the overall underlying feeling. They were happy for you. They loved you. They wanted you to do all the things that you wanted to do, to have a good life, whatever that looked like, if they were involved with it or not. And so holding on to that regret and that guilt it diminishes in some ways, right? The memory of them, the relationship that you had with them. You have to let it go. You have to let it go, and you have to focus on the love, because that's all that matters. You know, and so I think this is something important, because it feels really important as I'm talking about this. It feels, I can feel that it feels very emotional, okay, for whomever I'm reading for, Libra. But if this is resonating with you, I can tell that this is something that really has bothered you, you know, and it's hard. You maybe don't even think about it that much because it's too hard to look at. It really brings up too much. It opens up a whole can of worms, emotional wormy worms, and you don't want that. But I just, you know, I challenge you to try to look at this, reframe this, okay? That the work is to forgive yourself and realize that you're wrapped in the love of this person, you know, and whatever you have done with your life, they're there with you. We carry our people with us. If they are blood or otherwise, we carry people with us. And so they are with you. And, you know, if it helps, you should be talking to them, you know, writing them letters, doing things that remind you of them. Okay, and that I feel like, you know, it's hard. It can be hard because it feels like it's a put on or that it's silly at first. But I think it's important that we do these things. This is why ritual is important. This is why we celebrate holidays. Why we have you know, events and memorials and in all kinds of things. Because it is, in some ways it's symbolic, but it's also, it keeps us close to that energy, that vibration. Okay, and that's what love is, right? Part of what it is. And you can tap into it, by being with the person in a way that is meaningful to you. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We do have a lot of emotions here. Okay, and I see it's kind of scattered. But, we have some really we have some paths and straight lines. And I really think you kind of know what you need to do. Okay. And I think that, I think that you've been struggling to get back to a place that feels peaceful and, where there are those moments of happiness. Okay, but, I think that part of the way that is going to be helpful to you, and we can see this because we have two paths, and they're kind of, although they're not exactly parallel, they're on two different levels. Okay, and so we're doing the path in our mundane life, our daily life. You're doing the things, you're taking care of yourself, you're, doing your routines and so on. But also there is this interior landscape, okay? And when we cannot access direct peace and happiness in our everyday life, which is sometimes very hard, difficult, we can really work on creating that in our interior, okay? Through meditation, through active imagination, through dream work, whatever else work, kinds of things, techniques that you like to do. And I want to talk just for a moment here because this is getting long, but I just want to say there are things that you can do, like picturing yourself in a place that brings you some kind of peace. I like to think about myself in a garden. I like to garden. I like being around animals. Well, I live in a place that half of the year it's very cold and snowy. So we don't have a garden to go into and find that peace. So I find myself sitting quietly sometimes, even just staring out the window. I'm not even closing my eyes, but I am picturing myself finding my way through the rows in the garden, finding a middle place to go and sit down. I can hear the birds. I can hear, the wind. I can hear the bugs. Am I thinking about the late summer? We can hear the cicada. And all of this recall, it really does. It sets off some of those same chemical, hormonal reactions in our body that bring us to a place of ease. Okay, and so think about this. If you cannot, if the peace and the ease and the moments of happiness are not coming to you, falling into place for you, you need to create them. We must be active in our own lives. It's not always just going to happen spontaneously. And, this is a big place. This is where we find our power. This is where we become that Queen of Wands, right? We take our power back. We learn to control our reactions. And that's hard. But even more than that, we learn how to navigate our emotional states. Okay? We can't always be in charge of that stuff, but we can sure figure out how to navigate it, right? Okay, so we're going to look at the Dreamer's Deck, 40 affirmations for pursuing our dreams. And I'm just going to stop where it feels right. I'm going to flip this over and it says, I know that focusing my attention on things I cannot control distracts me from my journey. I am letting go. Let me read that again because I know that focusing my attention on things I cannot control distracts me from my journey. I am letting go. So this is pretty much what we're just talking about. We can't always control the emotions. We can't always control the circumstances. But we sure can not chain ourselves to them, right? We learn to go into those interior places. We become the captains, the leaders of our own journeys, right? And we learn to navigate the places that we find ourselves in. That's the best we can do sometimes. Okay, Libra, I want to say thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor if you would be so kind as to like the video. It really helps the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. It is free. It costs nothing. You can just hit the little button and then you will be part of the channel. You can also hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. Now, this week, Libra is coming out on a Monday. It won't always be like that. Usually it comes out on Sundays now. That is the schedule. You can look at the community posts. I put up a picture of the schedule, and the text part of the schedule is there as well if you want to save that. We had some technical difficulties, so it had to come out on Monday this week, but next week it'll be Sunday. So just keep that as a mental note. Other than that, if you want to leave a comment, please do. I read them all. They mean so much to me. And I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll talk in a few days.